Hello everyone, Dan Chen here. So today, the Day of the Dungeon Master event started. Um, I'm impressed. It's a nice event, kind of cute, kind of fun. But the funny part was it really wasn't on the calendar. Nothing was on the calendar yesterday, so nicely they filled everything in, and you've even got some stuff upcoming. Trade Bar Store, Wondrous Bazaar discount way up in March, but pretty good deal. And then we have this login reward cache. This is something they've been doing more often. This is what, like 16 days that it's available, but it looks like there's only 7 days of actual rewards. So if you miss, what's happened in the past is if you miss a day, you lose that day's reward. I don't know if that's how it works here. Yeah, I would not risk it, but it's possible. I wouldn't risk it. So what I would recommend is that you go in and you log in every day. But the fact that it's for 16 days, the period, kind of makes me think that what's going to happen is, if you skip a couple days, you log in on day one or whatever day during this period, then you skip a couple days, log in again, then you get the day two reward, so on and so forth. So as long as you get 7 days out of that whole period, you should be fine. Only available in your rewards claim for 60 days. So that would be if you're on PC, you press the L key and you come up with your open screen here and click on claim valuables, or you can go to the rewards person way up at the top of PE near the Hall of Justice. But here's where you would go. The promo tab, it's either going to be either up at the top or possibly all the way down at the bottom. This is generally where the stuff is that you have account wide that you can reclaim. So anyway, there's that. That's pretty cool. This is an appointment event. Your appointment events, we have about, I think, 4 or 5 of them a year. So you have the Siege of Neverwinter, the Hell Pit. That's another one. Then there's the Harvester of, I believe it's Nightmares or Sorrows. Harvester of Nightmares. That's another one. And then there's Day of the Dungeon Master, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure Protector's Jubilee is not one of those events, but I'm pretty sure there's one more, and I can't remember what it is offhand. But you want to take advantage of those because you get daily rewards for participation. Now you have to do certain events to participate. Generally, you can only do them on one character. You should really do it on your main, the one character you want to collect everything on, because if you do it like on different characters, the event currency doesn't transfer. If you look at it, you look at the event store and you can look at what you can get. When you do this event, when you do an appointment event, the first 7 days, you get 2 tokens of participation every day, and you have a chance if you do the event again multiple times, you have a chance of getting a second and possibly a third token. Very small chance, but these tokens are pretty handy because you get 2 per day. You can get 5 companion upgrade tokens or 5 mount upgrade tokens for your daily reward, basically. You can get these other things, but these are quite expensive compared to the tokens. Now you get that 2 every day, and you'll continue that for the whole 21 days. Now after 7 days, you'll start getting tokens of challenge for the next 7 days. So the second week you start getting those tokens of challenge. You get 1 per day, and bag of holding, that's again expensive. What I like to use the tokens of challenge for are these really highly sought after overloads like this Devil's Precision, Rage of Flames. These can run you 100k or more on the auction house. If you bought them unbound, you can get these out of lock boxes. So that's why people sell them. But you can get them from the events, and if you get 7 of these tokens, obviously you're getting quite a bit of value for that. Alternately, if you don't, what I do is I'll get a couple of these and stock them up, and then after that, if I need insignias, you can get a legendary insignia choice pack. 3 tokens for a legendary insignia choice pack. So that's basically, if you're leveling up your characters, you can get yourself a couple of legendary insignias out of here, plus a nice overload. Your choice as to what you want to get out of here. If you're a tank, obviously there's some other stuff, but these things sell so cheap on the auction house. The Devil's Precision, not the Devil's, the Demonic Empowerment, the unholy protection and the resilience of the depths, bulwark of protection, brimstone. For some reason, tank stuff just does not cost that much or sell for that much, probably because there are just a lot fewer tanks in the game. So understandable. I'm happy that they're able to get them a lot less expensive, and if you need something for protection, absolutely. And finally, after the second week, you get 1 token of achievement. And as you can see, most of these things cost more than 1, which is no big deal, because again, there's 4 or 5 of these events per year, so it's nice to save up for an account-wide companion, mythic companion, or one of these mounts. Now, what you want to really start out with at first is to try to get your portobello, if you can get up to that. If you don't have many, if you need to get your bolster up, definitely start on Staldorf, because that'll give you combat advantage. It is, let me see, it's an offense slot, so it would take up one of your offense slots. But if you're a DPS, this is a very handy one to have. Later on, you probably won't need it because you'll be finding other ways to get combat advantage, but initially this is pretty good. Also, this is not a great companion because it gives you deflect and combat advantage. I guess this is more of a tank type of thing. And the companion itself doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it is mythic and it's account wide, and it's something you can pick up out of here. Alternately, you could just get a coal moat, for the one token, rather than having to pay 3 for these other ones. Portobello, that's kind of expensive, pricey, but he is one of the top tier recommended companions. The only big problem I have with Portobello is the big benefit you get from Portobello is from being in a party of 5 players. So he gives power and combat advantage, 3.5% power and combat advantage to everybody in the party. Well, the trouble is, if you're traveling solo with this guy, you don't get that because you're not in a party of 5. So keep that in mind. But if you're doing end game and you want an option to have one of these mythic account-wide companions, this is definitely a good guy to have. All right, so enough about the event vendors. Again, that's more generic for the appointment events themselves. So let's get started with this one. So the first thing you need to do, now this is day 1, so there's probably a couple extra steps you have to do here. First thing, you just go in here, talk to Portobello, and you do the welcome, and he's going to say, go ahead and go in here to the Burrow-Down Inn, the little gaming table. Then you just press that, and you, yes, I am interested in going in, and you can do escape to get past the visuals here to get you inside. Now, what I recommend is you pull up your journal and make sure you're on Burrow-Down Inn and just look at what you're supposed to do. All right. The reason I mention this is because there is now let's get to that first. I'm not going to jump ahead. Just gonna, let me put the sparkly lines down for you. Okay, so we're going to go over here and talk to Flabbergast. He's going to tell you need to be evaluated. So we're going to do one of these little evaluations. Now, these are kind of cool if you think about the fact that for about 45 seconds worth of activity, you can get yourself a nice consumable that you can use in your gamings. I'll show you in just a second. But what I'm doing here is I'm basically just auto attacking. So I'm going to put do the Alt key so I can show you what we're looking at here. If you look over here, I'm going to have to undo the Alt key so you can see what's going on. But where is it? It's not showing it now. Oh, here we go. So attack dummy, 27 seconds left. Basically, the dual mastery challenge, you're just attacking the dummy. It doesn't matter how much damage you do, whether it gets to any certain points or anything. You're just running down the clock, and then once it's over with, you'll get a consumable. And I'll show you a sec. There's some actually pretty good ones in here, and you can just run around and do this all day long if you want to. That's generally not what most folks do. Most people just want to do the event things that they have to do to qualify to get your daily progression. Now, if you go back here, it's going to show you. See, when you get to the Day of the Dungeon Master, right-click it or click it. It'll show you days completed, 0 of 21 right now. So we're just zooming on. So now what we have to do, if we follow the sparkly line, I'm just going to take the shortcut instead of going. Oops, sorry, still an auto attack there. And we'll go over here and we're going to bypass Flabbergast. And if you look, it says speak to the Trial of Traps intern. You'll see there's two different question mark folks here. One of them is the Rock Falls intern. Skip that one. You can talk to him if you want to, but now this basically just takes you to the queue window, right? And then from the queue window you would choose one of these queues. Now what I recommend again, let me do that again. You see there's 3 different dungeons in here. Only one of them counts for the daily progression. And you're only going to get 1 progression per day. So the safe bet for every single day of this event is Trial of Traps. There are, I believe, a few days in here where you get a choice of a Rock Falls or a Trial of Traps. Possibly even later in the game, the Resper's Marvelous game. These are kind of cute little dungeons in themselves, but they don't give you credit for the daily progression unless they tell you they give you that you're getting credit for the daily progression. And again, the safe bet every single day is Trial of Traps. Believe me, from experience I can tell you that I have done the other ones thinking that was what I was supposed to do, and that didn't work. So here's another thing. Once you get into these trial, I'm gonna do this in a private queue, all right, just to show you that it can be done solo. And I'm not the best DPS here. I'm not the worst, but I'm not the best. So the fact that I can do it solo doesn't necessarily mean everybody can. But then again, there's probably a lot of folks that'll have even less problems than me, and here I am already screwing up. All right, but generally, what's going to happen? You'll get into that queue, and then you just have to wait for the queue to pop. And it can take, initially the first day a lot of people are playing, it can pop fairly soon, but sometimes it takes a while, and if you're in a hurry you could solo this. But there are a lot of mobs in here, and Trial of Traps is obviously full of traps, so you just got to be really kind of careful of that. So you're going to go here, let it open the door, and you can skip this cutscene. It's going to show you all this, and you're on a big gaming table. All right, this is, if you want to see a little bit of the history of this, look for Acquisitions Incorporated on Google or YouTube, and you'll see some of the videos. This is actually kind of a funny gaming group that had their little gaming things. And the guy that you see in here, who's Portobello, the companion, that's based entirely on the character that's the dungeon master for this Acquisitions Incorporated thing, and the Day of the Dungeon Master is kind of part of that whole thing. Now, as you can see, I've got to deal with these traps, and if you get knocked by these things, you get stunned, and you get knocked into these other traps, and you can get your butt kicked pretty fast. So I mean, you could time these. I'm gonna try not to get myself killed here. And there's folks that'll say just jump over everything, and it's, if you're better coordinated than me, good for you. I sometimes have a little problem. I don't know why he gets to stand inside the darn traps, and I'm being lazy and trying not to use any of my potions. Alright, some people will say just jump, maybe it works, and sometimes it does, but sometimes it knocks you into the traps anyway. Stand here at the fireplace, let yourself heal up, and if you get noticed, then you get attacked, so that's not good. Alright, again, normally you'd run this in a party, which helps, because then you're getting through the mobs quicker. Waiting for this webs to clear up, then this should be available. You're going to have dice coming in from the left, from behind you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom past here. Now, unfortunately, these guys behind me are probably not affected by that big dice thing, but you want to beat that dice down here before it rolls down, and crushes you. It doesn't kill you, it just does a crap load of damage. So again, you get through here. Then you have a single target boss fight. Well, a boss fight that you can go to single target for. Don't really need to go to the campfire for this, but I think I will. Solo single target. That should be a little bit better. Obviously, you can use some buff foods in here if you want to. But as you can see, I'm just progressing through them myself. See how the first boss goes for my Wimpy playing skills here. Now, these are runes on the floor that you can lure the boss into by, getting the boss's aggro, and then you go over here and you just, if I could get the darn boss to follow me. Come on. Hello. Are you gonna follow? Are you gonna follow? There we go. There we go. Alright, so the boss will take damage from those. You don't have to have them do that. You can just beat up on them if you want to. Maybe it'd be safer to do that. Looks like I'm going through a lot of healing today. Normally I would do this in a party, but I don't like waiting for queues, which is why I almost never do random queues. Right, as you can see, soloing this boss is not super duper hard. Although if you stand right in front of them, she will do some damage to you. Yeah, I'm actually healing for some reason. Alright, about to finish her off. Alright. Come on. Calm down. Now give yourself a second to heal up. Now these guys you can actually aggro through this gate. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let myself heal up here. Okay. Go to AoE, and then we'll open the door. Lure them in. Again, there's traps all over the place in here. Now, so obviously the ones you can see. Yeah, I'm in single target, so I don't have an AoE artifact set up or mount. Come on. But we'll still be able to get through these guys. Okay, so you see these little red circles on the ground, you got to watch out for those. So if you step on those, it will fire arrows at you from the side here. So we're going to do that. We're going to go avoid those. And then, oops, looks like I got one anyway. I'm not paying attention. And there's another one. Gosh darn it. Alright, now there's a fire pit. So let's do this. And we're almost at the final boss. Alright. Now go back to my single target attacks once my timer is done. What else? Yep. Here's the final boss. Okay. So back to single target. Alright. You just wait for the timer. Escape the cutscene. Hello, Mr. Boss. Big chained up beholder on a pedestal thing. Again, kind of cute with the little stands like you would have if you're on tabletop gaming. And boss is gone. If you step into that little thing in the middle, you'll get stunned. Alright, we're going to hit escape, or hold escape down and to get past that. And then we go up to Portobello here, and we'll get the treasure chest, claim the reward. You can see we got this code red, which is 1% gain 1% of your action points every 3 seconds. So we've got a lot of these like this. Alright, so we got that. Now we're done with this. And then, if you look at the sparkles, you're going to go back to Flabbergast. Now you have to wait for the completion. There we go. Alright, we'll hit that. I've completed the trial. Complete quest, and you see we're going to get this reward here. And then if you look down to the right, we've got our 2 tokens of participation. And we'll just go so long. Now, you have the option to leave. What I would recommend is look again at your bro.in thing. Oh, sorry. Let's do that again. Hopefully I didn't screw anything up. It is gone. So that looks like it. We'll go down to here and look at this, and it says days completed 1 of 21. You just use this thing here, hold down to step into the cave, just wait, and it'll take you back into Protector's Enclave where you entered, basically. All right, and you're done. That is it for the day. Rinse and repeat for 21 days, and you're good to go. All right, hope this helps. Hope you're having a great time with Neverwinter. I certainly am. I've been playing it for, let's see, about 6 years now. Not the longest, obviously, but not a newbie either, I think. Again, happy gaming. Bye.